on YouTube. Be sure to check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for everything Royal Caribbean related. RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for joining us here every Monday. We are live with you right here on YouTube, hanging out, talking about the most important thing in the whole wide world, which, of course, is going on a Royal Caribbean cruise. And we're going to answer as many questions as we can, but we got to start with the most important question. There's only one question that truly stands apart from the most important, and that is how many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Type your countdown in chat. Let's count down together. I am at 4 more days till my next cruise. I just got off Royal Caribbean's Brilliance of the Seas this morning, and I've got Independence of the Seas on Friday. I can not only get used to going on a cruise every week, but I'm also not getting used to having to make my own food for me. After 4 days of the Windjammer, I need someone else to make my food for me. I got kind of used to that, but we all have our crosses to bear, I suppose. Had a great time on Brilliance. It was a 4-night cruise down to Costa Maya, and we had beautiful weather. Oh, well, except for yesterday, but everything else is great. A lot of countdowns in our chat already. Welcome. And we're also here to answer your cruise questions. So please feel free to now type your cruise questions in chat so we can count down together. Christine Del Rossi, hello, welcome. Mike Wolf coming in with our first super chat of the day. Thank you, Mike. Wolf is in the house. What's up, Mike? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is good to see you. Foodie Vacation just got off Symphony of the Seas. I recall talking about your cruise before you're going. That's fantastic. How was it? I hope you had an awesome, awesome time. Nobody says my parents are on Symphony of the Seas. Didn't invite you, huh? Man, you know what? The old folks home category they just went down to, it's going down by the minute. Got to take care of their kids, right? Matt Manuvich, thank you for the super chat, buddy. 31 days till our Odyssey cruise. Fantastic. Are they moving Coco Key to the first stop? The cruise compasses for the 6-nighter showing Coco Key as the first stop instead of the last. I have no idea. I don't even know. Let me put it this way. The best answer to your question is I don't know. And also, cruise itineraries can change for any variety of reasons. There can be any sort of rationales, but I don't have an answer for you, Matt, as to what you could expect on there. Your best bet, actually, if I were you, now I think about it, you're going in 30 days. You might be a little too far off. I think you could be okay. Anyway, go to the Royal Caribbean app and check or the Cruise Compass, the Cruise Planner website, and you'll be able to see the schedule on there in terms of the itinerary. Could that change? Sure, but until it does or doesn't, you have to wait and see on that one. Tony Diaz is here. Welcome. It's good to see you. Dave Kazarian is here. Kim Oakland with an epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. I don't see a message here, but it's good to see you. Welcome, Kim, as always. Let's see here. Mike wants to know, how early do I need to take my COVID test before the sailing date? Great question. If you are a fully vaccinated adult, you can take your test up to 2 days before your cruise, not counting the day you set sail. So if your cruise leaves on a Saturday, then you can take your test on either Thursday or Friday or even Saturday. If you have unvaccinated children, they can take the test up to 3 days before the cruise. So leaves on Saturday, it could be on either Friday, Thursday, or Wednesday, but they can't. The unvaccinated kids cannot do the test on the day of your cruise. Kids can only do a PCR test. You can do, as a vaccinated person, can do PCR or antigen. I recommend you do the antigen test because the results come back a lot faster. Hopefully that answers your question right there. Jay in the house, 69 days till Independence of the Seas. Fantastic. Eric checking in from his balcony on Anthem of the Seas. Great day at Labadee. I am so jealous, man. I'm finally going to get a chance to go back to Labadee next month on Wonder of the Seas, but man, it's been a long time since I've been there. Josh Carruthers coming in with an epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Josh. Glad you survived Brilliance. We're here, baby. 18 more days to the Wonder of the Seas inaugural cruise on March 4th. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome, awesome sailing. Thank you, Josh, for your super generosity. Very, very nice of you. Paul wants to know, can I book a casino offer for one or do you need to pay the single supplement charge? I believe you can book it for one. I mean, you have to check the terms, honestly, Paul. But let me tell you, I know a lot of friends who book the casino rates and are solo. So I can't imagine that'd be an issue right there. Andrew wants to know, is the Bionic Bar included? With the cruise fare, no. The Bionic Bar costs extra. If you have a drink package, Andrew, then it's included. Chris C. Thank you for the super chat. What's the best thing on Harmony of the Seas and food? Izumi, hibachi is fantastic. 150 Central Park, two of my favorites right there. The best thing on Harmony? Boy, that's a loaded question. I mean, you've got Grease, the Broadway musical. It's hard to go wrong with that. You've got a great show in the Aqua Theater, the Fine Line. Man, I mean, you've got water slides. There's a lot of best things on board that ship. You're going to love it. There's no shortage of fun things to do on the Harmony of the Seas. Betty Eakin coming in with a epic super chat. Woo! How do I find your podcast? Great question, Betty. So every episode is on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. If you go to our main menu, there's a link that says podcast, and click on that. But you don't have to do that. You can actually pull up your favorite podcasting app. If you have an iPhone, you can go to the podcast app on your phone and just search for Royal Caribbean Blog. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. So I don't know what type of phone you have, but we're on the major ones. You should be able to find it there, Betty. But let me know if you have any issues. Send me an email. If you have any problems, I can send you the link to it. But if they're all also at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com/podcast. Let's see here. Cruising with Cliff. Thank you, Cliff, for the super chat. Odyssey in 12 days. It's my diamond cruise. Congratulations on making diamond, dude. That is awesome. Awesome. You know, April, we try to get to as many questions as we can. I have to give priority to the super chatters. They're literally paying for the privilege. That's a perk for doing, though. But I definitely work in other questions as well. But if you're going to donate some money, I think the least I can do is answer that question. But even if we just, there's no way I can answer every single question in the broadcast. That's just, it's an impossibility unless we were here for like 5 hours. I'm pretty sure. So I apologize if I can't get to every single question. You can always post your questions on our message boards at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, or maybe wait a little later in the broadcast. Sometimes it eases up a little bit. You never know, but try to get as many as I can. Hey, Tommy boy, how are you, Tom? Good to see you. Hope all is well. Eric wants to know, any change by June pre-cruise test will be going away? We don't know, Eric. Royal Caribbean's only announced protocols through mid-April. I wouldn't expect it, but you never know. But the bottom line is the answer to your question is no, the protocol is only through mid-April. Anything beyond that, Eric, would be purely speculation at this point. So, next question coming in from Tom. With a 3 and 5 night dining package, you can use a lunch instead of a dinner. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, early on, Tom, that was kind of like, not so much, but now they don't really care. It doesn't matter what you use it for. So absolutely. The answer is yes. No problem at all. Next question is from As Seen on TV. Any chance the mask mandates can be dropped by August for our Waste of the Seas cruise? Again, same piggybacking on that question we just asked about the vaccine mandate or whatever the last question was. We don't know. It's too early to know. Royal Caribbean is only putting out its protocols right now through, about a month or two ahead of time. So it's just too early to know. And if you're saying, well, why can't they just put it out now? Why can't they just tell us? Well, the part of the problem is COVID changes so rapidly. Think about where COVID was in November, the first week of December, last week of December, January, and today. Like, it's all over the place, right? Everything looked great in November. Then we had Omicron. And then now we're back to it looks like we're on the downswing from that. So it's just, they can only play this a little bit at a time going forward. My advice to anybody who has a cruise in 2022, or heck, even 2023, you should assume the protocols that we have today are going to be the protocols going forward. And this isn't to be bleak or anything else. This is just about setting proper expectations that we may speculate and maybe even hope that some protocols will change and get lifted between now and our cruise later this year or next year. But until they say something, you've got to assume this is going to be the case. That way, you're setting, I think, the proper expectations for yourself. So you're not getting your hopes up too bad. And if they do get better, well, that's great news, right? So, Scotty 5000, thank you for the super chat. 265 till our first Royal Caribbean cruise on Anthem. Any updated info in the teens area? Delivering refuel, not much online about it. It's open. Basically, these areas are obviously places for the teenagers to kind of hang out. Unlike Adventure Ocean, where it's more structured, the teen club does have activities. Like if you go there every day, they'll have usually a whiteboard and they list, it's this activity and then this and this and this. But it's really, the teen club is primarily some teens go and do the activities, but a lot of times they just kind of like meet their friends, hang out, chit chat, and whatnot. Kind of depends on the vibe of the room, quite frankly. It's a little more free form, if that makes sense. But it is open if that is your question. Brandon Hillier, thank you for the super chat. Happy Valentine's Day to you and your wife. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate you. Hope to see you on board a ship very, very soon. Hope all is well. Thank you for your generosity. And Rebecca Eaton coming in with the super chat. I'm just saying hi. Thanks for all the info. I'm just saying thank you for your generosity, Rebecca. Very, very kind of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Becca says, what if we can't get the antigen test 2 days before? Can we get the test at the port as the last resort? Yes. Royal Caribbean does offer it in limited quantities, and you would have to book it, I believe, 24 hours beforehand. Becca, I'm going to say this. What I'm about to say, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not being mean or anything like this. There's no reason you can't get an antigen test 2 days before the cruise. And you're saying, well, Matt, I can't. I went to CVS's website. I went to this. They're not there. Get the at-home test, Becca. emed.com. It's so easy, and it's so convenient. It's the antigen test. You do it at home. It takes about 15 minutes, and it just couldn't be easier. And I think it's actually to your advantage. The at-home test is more convenient. It's faster than going somewhere else, and more importantly, you're not potentially exposing yourself to COVID-19 by going to a doctor's office, a pharmacy, because that's where most people go there for a COVID test, think they have COVID, right? As opposed to when you're doing it at home, I hope that makes sense. So, to answer your question, there is an available option at the terminal, but I would definitely get the at-home test. It's so much better. Let's see here. Is there anywhere on Odyssey to get a milkshake? Yeah, Odyssey has. Doesn't it have Johnny Rockets Express? Am I? Oh my goodness. Honey, I know I just got back from a cruise, but I need to book another cruise on Odyssey because I forgot what the pool deck looks like on there. Yeah, seriously. What? Now, why are you changing the locks? Okay, well, we'll work on that after the broadcast. You can definitely always get a milkshake. The main dining room can also make one for you, but Johnny Rockets is usually where you can get one. I don't remember if Playmakers does a milkshake. Boy, these are great. I really need to get back on Odyssey and answer these questions. You can only do this firsthand, right? I'm sorry that wasn't a good answer. How was watching the Super Bowl on the cruise? It's a big party on board, man. I like the snacks. I thought that was really, really nice. Dave and Sherry, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Matt, 69 days till Harmony, our first cruise. Trying to get my arms around gratuity etiquette. We've prepaid, so what does that leave out? Ooh, that's a great question. We should probably talk about that a little bit. So when you prepay gratuities, that covers your stateroom attendant and your dining room staff, Dave and Sherry. So your stateroom attendant's covered, your dining room staff is covered, you're good there. When you purchase anything, like you purchase a drink on board, if you go to a bar and you order a beer, you'll see in the receipt the line item for the drink and then a service charge. That's the gratuity. It's automatic, nothing extra for you to do. But that gratuity is still extra compared to your prepaid gratuity because, again, the prepaid gratuity is just for the dining room staff and the stateroom attendant. Certainly, people tip on top of that, but really everything on Royal Caribbean is pretty much automatic. I'm really trying to think of somewhere you might tip extra beyond. You go to the spa, they're going to have a service charge is usually what you'll see over there. So I hope that makes sense of what the prepaid gratuity is versus something else. If you buy a dining package, if you buy a drink package, that has a service charge associated with it, and that covers your gratuity, so you're good to go with that as well. Jose says, what's the deal with 3 people in the pool at a time on Oasis? It may say that somewhere, Jose. I can tell you this for a fact. That rule has never been enforced on all my cruises I've been on. It's not. So don't worry about it. Richard Grant Smith, thank you for the super chat. How many clothes do you take on a 12-day cruise? Oh, boy. I would usually pack. Well, 12 is hard because if it's, let me answer this way. For a 7-night cruise, I would pack one piece of clothes, one outfit for the daytime and one outfit for the nighttime. Now, of course, for the evening, for us guys, Richard, you may know this, right? We can, you can wear a pair of jeans twice. You can wear, one pair of jeans, 2 shirts. On longer cruises, like a 12-day cruise, I will not pack 12 outfits per day plus 12 evening outfits. That's crazy talk. I will probably pack, if I were you, I would pack 6, maybe, and then I would do laundry on board the ship. Yeah, laundry ain't free. Yeah, it's a little bit of money, but packing 24 outfits is not practical either. I am not Sherry from Cruise Tips TV. I don't have that many wardrobe changes. Love you, Sherry. I would just simply say I would rely on laundry to make my life easier. So that way I can reuse clothing. It's not going to be stinky or anything like that, especially if something gets soiled. So we're covered in that regard. Patrick wants to know, we have a Sweet on Symphony of the Seas, and I want to buy the unlimited dining package. Is it okay since we have Coastal Kitchen? Sure, I do that all the time. I'm not the worst. There's going to be some people right now, Patrick, that are literally going to yell at their phones, their computers, their spouse, and they're like, I'm not Matt, honey. That's the guy on the TV. You ready for this, Patrick? 3, 2. I don't care for Coastal Kitchen. I hear you. I know. It's sacrilegious. It's not that I don't care. I just I have a very meh approach. So when I stay in a suite, I still book a dining package. So you know what, Patrick? You and me will enjoy dinner together. How about that? Cruise Addicts, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Matt. Excited for Wonder of the Seas March 11th. Can I have a picture with you if I see you? Sure, absolutely. I always tell people this. If you see me on the ship, please say hello. Unless I'm yelling at my children. I'm yelling at my kids. Give me 10 minutes and then come find me again. But yeah, absolutely. Same day antigen test. I valid to doing side to side. Yeah, I mean that's totally fine. Let's see here. Next question is from Kate Travel wants to know, are there any events during Mardi Gras Ash Wednesday? That's a great question. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. Usually, you'd be surprised how many events Royal Caribbean does put on its ships for holidays, big or small. Sometimes they can be minor, major things that are going on. I can't promise you what they might be, especially with Ash Wednesday and perhaps a religious service of some kind. I believe I've seen that performed on some ships, depending if they have a clergy member available to do it. So the answer is, it depends. Not a great answer, but it's the right answer. 304 Garage, thank you for the super chat. If you've been on an upgraded room, how soon are you able to find out if it gets accepted? Accepted, not expected. Accepted. The answer is any point between now and your 13 days till your cruise. It's just magic. There is no timeline that it would otherwise be, if that makes sense. Jude, thank you for the super chat. Any tips for me? I'm doing a back-to-back cruise on Allure starting April 30th. Well, that's fantastic. Number one, I hope you're in the same room. That's if you're not in the same room, talk to your stateroom attendant on cruise one about helping you move to cruise number 2. If you're in the same room, awesome sauce. Number 2, on cruise number 1, about a day or 2 into the cruise, I'd say about day 2 or day 3, I go down to guest relations, let them know you're doing a back-to-back so they can schedule your COVID test for you. Tip number 3, if you're start making friends with bartenders on board the ship. They will be your BFFs. And when I say make friends with them, slip them a little George Washington, a little Abe Lincoln here and there. It goes a long way. And enjoy it, man. You get to take advantage of all the activities on board. Danny DiMatteo, thank you for the super chat, my friend. 62 days till Harmony of the Seas. Love it. Mr. Steve Cohen, 13 more days till Harmony. My third cruise in 6 weeks. Got to keep up with the Cohens out there, I guess. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you, Steve. I always appreciate you. Thank you. NYC Lover for life. Once you make diamond status, does the vouchers have value if you want to get a beverage package? No, it's either or. You do get, though, as a diamond member, there is a discount on the drink package. But you only can get the discount once on board the ship, not before the cruise, if that makes sense. Excuse me. Jason, thank you for the super chat. We'll be getting my single cruiser double points. We'll be getting my single cruiser double points, and we'll be getting my first block is at 140. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you for your generosity, Jason. I appreciate it. Captain Maurice wants to know, where the heck is the Icon of the Seas design? I'll tell you, actually. Hang on. I'm going to tell you I can't show it to you, but I'm going to tell you all about it. The designs for Icon of the Seas are as follows. And that's everything I know about Icon of the Seas design. Don't tell anybody. It's a secret. Seriousness, they're holding back. Obviously, they're holding back. I think, quite frankly, they're waiting for Wonder of the Seas to debut, so the attention can get. They don't want people focused too much on what's down the line. They want you focused on booking now. That's part of it, quite frankly. So, let's see. Mike and Cheryl, good evening. Josh Carruthers. Yeah, I agree with Josh. The cost of the EMED test so worth it. So worth it. Isn't it over $100? Well, number one, Adam, it is now no matter which test you buy, whether it's a 3-pack, 6-packs, whatever, it's actually cheaper for the 3-pack. I think it's like $100 for the 6-pack. Anyway, it's reimbursable from your medical insurance now. And if you have an HSA account, like a health savings account, you just charge it right to there. That's fine as well. But it's reimbursable, so you'll get the money. Technically it'll end up being free to you because the government's picking up the tab on that one. Does Navigator of the Seas have dinner in the Windjammer? It does indeed. Jeff says about the milkshake question, there's nowhere to get a milkshake unless you order a non-alcoholic mudslide. Thank you. I appreciate that. I guess I got a brain fart on that one. Thank you for the help. I appreciate it. Tri-State Killa on board Oasis of the Seas. Welcome. The Teresa McChain. Thank you for the super chat. Woo! Appreciate it. On the app for Wonder of the Seas, 150 Central Park only shows 3 appetizer choices, 3 entree choices, 2 desserts. Is the menu really that limited? I would say this, Teresa. I'd have to look at the menu, quite frankly, to give you a better answer on this. But I tell this to a lot of folks. The app is wonderful. I love the app. But when it comes to menus and details about a ship, I don't believe it at all. The app has been notoriously incorrect about a lot of things. I don't put any stock in it, Teresa. I know it's hard for planning, especially if you got a cruise coming up for it. But I would not put any stock in what you see there necessarily. Take it with a grain of salt. But I believe if memory serves me correctly, when I ate at 150 of Central Park twice on Harmony of the Seas back in November, there was more than that. But it's not a giant menu. This isn't Denny's by any means. They have a couple of, but you're not going to leave hungry. I promise you that. But thank you for your generosity. And of course, you have the advantage, Teresa. You're going on the second sailing with me, so you'll already know all the menus by the time you get on board the ship. Alfred wants to know, do those seasickness bans work, or do we need Dramamine as a backup? It's a great question. Oh boy, I can't tell you if they work or not. I know there are lots of people who swear by them. I personally prefer the Dramamine pills, but it's pretty low cost to buy both and see which one works best for you. Chris C, thank you for the super chat. How do you get breakfast in restaurant reservations? You don't need reservations for breakfast. You just walk into any of those places. No reservations required. For other meals, like dinner primarily, you can either make a reservation on board the ship through the Royal Caribbean app, or before the cruise via the website, of course. If you have a dining package, Chris, you can't make a reservation until you get on board the ship. But once you're on board, you then go to any specialty restaurant, and they can book any reservation you need. So it's really easy, actually. You just got to wait till you're on board for the dining packages. Anna says, sorry if you addressed it already, but do you see another layer of COVID protocols peeling back by March 14th? I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't know more than you guys do. So the best answer, the only answer I can really truly give you without just making up stuff or speculating is just saying I have no idea. Could it happen? Sure. Do I think it's likely? Probably not. But that kind of stuff. Hope you understand. Marv the Martian, thank you for the super chat. In Sky Class with complimentary room service. With complimentary room services, gratuity expected or already included. Also, main dining room at the kitchen. The second part of your question is usually, yeah. I mean, they can make a special exception for you if you really wanted something in the main dining room. Is complimentary room service gratuity expected or already included? I usually tip with room service in general, and no matter what the deal is, I always tip the guy or gal, a couple bucks for their service personally. So, hey, Jennifer Kell from MEI Travel is here. How are you, Jennifer? Hope you had a great time on the Mariner of the Seas. Welcome. Kelly is going on Harmony of the Seas and getting 10 or Teb. I think that's 10 family members going on this weekend. Have an awesome time, Kelly. You're going to have a blast on board. Todd, how do you bid for a stateroom upgrade? The easiest way, well, you usually get an email about it, but if you can always go to Royal Caribbean, just go to Royal Caribbean's homepage and there's a look for Royal Up. That's the bidding for a stateroom upgrade program. So, Andrea, thank you for the super chat. Leaving on Harmony on Sunday. Are WoW bands available yet? Unfortunately not. When we were on Harmony in November, they were only available if you were staying in Star Class, but for everyone else, the answer was no. So, yeah. Let's see. Courtney, thank you for the super chat. Will vaccinated and unvaccinated kids be put together in Adventure Ocean? Yes. Joseph wants to know, is Royal Caribbean still going to Labadee? Yep. They restarted cruises to Labadee about a week or two ago. So, yep, good, great news. Yep, and Foodie Vacations can attest to it. She was there today or yesterday, very, very recently. So, what are the conditions at Labadee? Awesome. Awesome. I mean, Foodie Vacations was right there. Rick wants to know, is July a good time to cruise to Alaska? It's great. It's peak season. So there's advantages and disadvantages. Number one, it's probably the warmest time of the year to go to Alaska. So the chilly factor will be at a minimum for you, relatively speaking, of course, to Alaska. But it'll be more crowded during the month of July because there's a lot more people who want to go traveling during the same time of year. So booking shore excursions would be really important for you to book in advance to avoid them selling out. In addition, obviously, restaurants in these various towns you're visiting can be more popular, crowded, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But weather-wise, it's probably the best reason to go during July. And probably because you have off of work and school. So that helps as well. Well, Royal Caribbean allow me to drive one of their cruise ships. No. John Grachowski, thank you for the super chat. 195 days to Allure of the Seas, finally under 200. What do you recommend to do in Cozumel? Thanks for all you do. Thank you, John. I appreciate you. I generally, there's so many great things to do in Cozumel. I generally like going to do a beach day in Cozumel. I think it's, for most people, especially when you're brand new, it's probably the most crowd-pleasing activity there is. There's two types of beach places, John. There's all-inclusives and pay-as-you-go. If you want pay-as-you-go, I love Paradise Beach. Actually, this is what I would do. This is what I'm going to tell you to do. I want you're gonna first you're gonna get off the ship and you're gonna go downtown. You're gonna walk off the ship, hop in a taxi. It's really easy. It's like $8. Say downtown. That's all the Spanish you need. Hola, downtown, por favor. Most of them speak enough English. Anyway, bam, you're over there. Walk around downtown San Miguel. There's some shopping, some dining, have some good food. And then you're gonna say, ay, Dios mío, muy caliente aquí. Yo quiero la playa. Come on, that was pretty good Spanish for somebody who does not speak Spanish. It's going to get hot because you're in Cozumel. So you're going to say, I have an idea. And you're going to get in, you're going to say taxi because there's a lot of taxis all over the place. And then you're going to go to Paradise Beach. Paradise Beach is it's not all-inclusive, although they do have an all-inclusive option, but it's pay as you go. And so you go there for the afternoon, swim. They have a pool. They have the beach. It's great. I think you'll like that. And it's not a major investment. That way you get a little bit of taste of what Cozumel has to offer downtown, and you still get that beach activity, so you're not overwhelmed on one end or the other. So I think that's really the way to go about it. Robert wants to know, do they have formal night on Allure, and do you know ahead of which cruise it is? They do. Usually on a 7-night cruise, there are 2 formal nights. The best way, Robert, is to look at a past cruise compass. They don't tell you in advance what it is, Robert, but you can pretty much figure out what it is based on past cruises. We keep an archive of past cruise compasses at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. So, Robert, go to RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, click on the main menu, go to cruise compasses, filter for Allure of the Seas, and you'll get a pretty good idea. Usually it is day 2 and then like day 5 or 6 on a 7-night cruise. Depends on which day is a sea day or not. So usually they favor the sea days for a formal night. Anthony wants to know, do we need a passport? If you're an American citizen and you're cruising from the United States on a cruise that leaves and comes back to the U.S., a closed loop sailing. So you cruise out of, Port Miami, come back to Port Miami, and you're an American citizen, you don't need a passport. You can cruise with a birth certificate and a state-issued ID like a driver's license, but you should absolutely get a passport. Trust me when I tell you, you should get a passport, but you don't need to have one necessarily if you follow those the conditions I mentioned. Jeff wants to know, what's up, Jeff? Is Ripcord happening these days, or is it closed for COVID? Ripcord by iFly? No, that is open. That is open. Chase wants to know, does Royal Caribbean have any studio cabins for us solo travelers? Yes, there are some solo cabins on some ships. There's about a dozen or so Royal Caribbean ships that have at least one solo cabin. And literally, Chase, some ships have like 2. So it's not like you got like 100 of them. The Quantum class ships, like Anthem of the Seas, have the most. They have like 14 of them. So there's only about a dozen or so ships that have them. Yes, we have a list of them at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Just Google. I'm getting choked up, Chase, thinking about going on a cruise. Just Google Royal Caribbean blog, solo cabins. You'll find the list and all the information you need over there. Madison wants to know, if I don't have a drink package, what's the approximate cost of a Coke in the dining room at dinner? I believe it is $2.95. It's $2.95 or $3.95. Less than $5. Let's put it that way. I think it's $2.95. $3.95 seems excessively expensive, but so does $2.95. I'll freely admit that as well. But yeah. Mike, I couldn't agree more, man. I love 150 Central Park. Really, really good. Juan, thank you for the super chat. We got 3 people in the junior suite. Any tips on how to get an upgrade, and any tips for land excursions or things to do on land in general? How to get an upgrade? I mean, unless you're paying for it through Royal Up, it's just, there is no tips. There's no, it's so rare that it's not even worth discussing. So either Royal Up, which is the bid for an upgrade program, which you go to Royal Caribbean's website, you'll find a link there for Royal Up, and then you're going to fill that out and hope for the best. And just for land excursions, I don't know where you're going, but I would say consider I would look at what Royal Caribbean has to offer, and I would look at some third-party excursions. Google the port name you're going to and shore excursions, and you'll find some other options as well. Compare the two, see what's available for you. There's advantages to booking on your own because you can customize it the way you want it. Maybe you'll save a few bucks in the process. But make sure it's a reputable service. Look up reviews of them, make sure they're well respected, all that kind of stuff. So in general, it really depends on the port. It's hard to answer your question. But I would say the other thing you want to do, Juan, is go to our message boards at royalcaribbeanblog.com. We have a shore excursion forum, and you can search within there for every port you're visiting and find great recommendations for what to do. So thank you, Juan, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Next question. Keith Bruce. Does the U.S. ports excursions work the same as other port excursions, like where you have to meet up? Do you mean, like, Keith, if your cruise visits like Port Canaveral or Miami, like, is it as opposed to Nassau? As far as I know, it's pretty much the same. For every port, you're pretty much getting off the ship. Well, that's not always true. Sometimes you meet on the ship, sometimes you meet off the ship. I don't know that there's any real difference in the sense of, if you book a shore excursion, your meet location, it's just going to vary on the ship. There's some ships where our meet location was in a theater, and other ships it's out on the pier. I think it just depends on whatever they do on that. I don't know. Next question is from Mason. Can you book all your entertainment shows for the whole cruise on embarkation day? Generally, yes. There are some times in which I've seen them hold back for certain days later on in the cruise for certain shows, but generally speaking, the answer is yes. Mimi Review, what are your top 3 not included Oasis restaurants, and what would you rate Oasis? And also, what would you rate Oasis 1 out of 10? The top 3 restaurants on Oasis of the Seas, my favorites: Portside Barbecue is a must try, Izumi Hibachi, 150 Central Park. Love those. That's my top 3. And what would you rate Oasis? This is a great question because and I mean this in a very nice way. It's a great question because it's a bad question. What do I mean by that? Reviews of cruise ships are completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. And what I mean by that is, one person's experience is not necessarily going to be anything indicative of your experience. Cruise ships are not like movies or even restaurants where it's very narrow focus and you kind of all have the same experience. We could both go on Oasis, and I could sit in my room every single day, never leave, just sit in my room, order room service, right? And you could go and do like a bunch of different things. My example is ridiculous, right? But what I do on the ship is not going to be the same that you do on the ship. You're going to do different activities, different times, different places. I'm going to do different ones. So they're not the same. It's not. The answer to your question is it's 10 out of 10 because your experience is going to vary. So it's ultimately irrelevant what anyone else's experience is on board a ship, because it's always going to be subjective. It's always going to be based on what their preferences are, what they do. But there is absolutely wonderful potential for an amazing cruise vacation on board Oasis of the Seas. I think more often than not, you'll probably have a great one on there. Time to catch up on the super chats. Ariel, thank you for the super chat. Woo! Appreciate it, Ariel. Thank you. Thanks for everything. We travel on our first cruise in September. We'll be on Symphony in Miami. We travel from Boston. Question: do you recommend travel the day before? And what hotel can we stay? Yeah, great question. Thank you for your generosity. Always, always, always travel the day before the cruise. Always. If you are flying, I'm not talking to you, Ariel. I'm talking to everybody else who's watching this. And if you're flying to your cruise, do not book a flight the same day of your cruise. I don't care. Yeah, I know you got to work that day. Yeah, I know you don't want to pay for a hotel. But you know what you don't want to do either? It's the cruise. Don't do it. Come in at least a day ahead of time. Even if you take that late flight, and you're lucky, Ariel, because you're coming out of Boston. There's like, bazillion flights down from Boston to Florida. So you're covered on that one. It's easy for you. But always book the day before. So yeah, absolutely. What hotel can we stay at? Great hotel. There are a lot of hotels in Miami. My two favorite go-tos are the Intercontinental Miami and the Doubletree Biscayne Bay. Both are downtown. They are so close to the cruise terminal. How close are they, Matt? They're so close. You can see them from your hotel if your room faces the right direction. It doesn't matter. You're still got to take a taxi over there, but at least you're so close that traffic will not be a factor for you. You're just a hop, skip, and a jump away via taxi to get to the cruise terminal, and they're wonderful hotels as well. You could stay at one of the hotels near the airport. If you're flying in at like 10 o'clock at night, you're probably paying for the Intercontinental is a bit of overkill. I'll freely admit that. So, you might stay at a hotel over there. There's lots of them. I remember pre-pandemic, I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express, Miami Airport East. There's lots of hotels. I would just go to TripAdvisor and find one that has, 4 stars or higher and one night near the hotel. I'm sure business hotels are usually pretty good, solid bet. So those are the two I would recommend. If some people like to do more adventurous stuff, like go to South Beach. There's lots of hotels in South Beach. The Surf Comber it's a Kimpton brand, which is IHG. Love that hotel. I've stayed there many, many times. If you want to do a South Beach, Miami Beach experience, that's a good one for that as well. So thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Let's see here. Davamon says, are Voyager class ships just mini Freedom class ships? No, Freedom class ships are just extra large Voyager class ships. Yeah, they are. They're the same thing. Yes. The Freedom class ships are just basically a stretched version of the Voyager class. You're absolutely right on that one. JP, got no idea. My inclination was yes. I think they will opt into it, but they don't include me in their internal communication, so we'll have to wait and see together. But I would have thought all along the way that they had said they were planning on opting into it. I know that the CDC's rules have come out, and they've been very, very, very stringent. Don't forget, guys. The CDC. This is not the first time the CDC has said, "Here are the cruise ship rules. I bring you these 15 commandments." Right, and then what happens? What happened before? Cruise industry said, "You know what? These are ridiculous." Like when in 2020 or early 2021. The CDC told the cruise lines that they actually had to when they boarded passengers in the gangways. So when you walked from the cruise terminal onto the ship, those gangways look like really jetways on an airport. Yeah, they could only run like a certain amount of people on board those gangways, and then they would have to stop and they would have to sanitize the entire thing, which is absolute lunacy. And the cruise industry said that is absolute lunacy, and they fought back, and that and other rules got dropped there. So when I say they have these 15 commandments, well, you can drop some of them perhaps, and we'll have to see. But I would think the answer would be the cruise lines like Royal Caribbean will probably opt into it. But again, I don't know more than you guys do. Alan Fulton in the house. Do you recommend one secret sandwich or two? Honestly, dude, one. And I'm telling you, it's a giant sandwich. So, yeah. Call me crazy. I mean, I'd love to eat two, but after one, man, that's all I can handle. I got to be honest with you. I'm just not not as good as I used to be. Megan Hayes, MEI Travel. What's up, Megan? Late to the party. Good to see you. Good to see you as well. Welcome. Devin, thank you for the super chat. What do you recommend I should do in Nassau? I go on my first cruise next week on Mariner. Nice, dude. I would say if your first cruise is Nassau, what would I recommend you do? Well, I would definitely book a short excursion in advance, Devin. Nassau is definitely a port where you want to have a plan. You don't want to a lot of people will just walk off and kind of wing it. I don't recommend that. It's not the best port for that. I think in general, you're probably going to want to do a beach aquatic activity. I can recommend Blue Lagoon. I went there pre-pandemic, and I've heard a lot of good things also about Pearl Island. Both of those are booked through Royal Caribbean, and those are great to do. So I would recommend maybe taking a short excursion to one of those two places. I think you'll probably have a very, very nice time. So, and I agree with Josh about the studio cabin thing. They're very rare, and they're just not worth it. It's just, I know paying a single supplement stinks, but it's just they're so hard to get that it's just not worth the effort, quite frankly. Eddie says, can you cruise with the passport card, or do you recommend the passport book? I recommend the passport book. The reason being, you can't fly with the passport card, as you may or may not know. And if you were to get stuck somewhere, that'd be a problem for you. And obviously, that would limit you from not being able to cruise outside the United States, right? If you go to Europe or something, as an example. But it's just a better investment to get the passport card. So if you have a choice, absolutely get the passport card. Let's see here. Kathy just got off Anthem of the Seas on Friday. It was only 1/3 full. Yeah, we had 1,190 people on Brilliance of the Seas this past cruise, which is like a smidge over 50% capacity. So definitely still some lower capacity on there. Mr. Brent Ferguson. It's been a while. We had booked March 4th, but with the new baby due in June, had to reschedule. Brent, I got to tell you, man, I know it's Valentine's Day and all, but us husbands, we go to all these lengths to plan these perfect family vacations, and our wives have more kids. What's up with that? Right? Congratulations, by the way. I can't hold that one. Yes, I do laugh at my own jokes. I think they're that funny. Let's see here. Kay wants to know, do you think there will be any Quantum class ships sailing to the Caribbean next May? Currently, there aren't listed any. What's Anthem of the Seas doing? Oh, is Anthem in Europe, Kay? Is that why? That's the only reason I can imagine she's not offering that. Or is Odyssey, or they're in Europe? I'm going to imagine the answer is that. If they're in Europe, the answer is probably not, because Ovation and Quantum will be in Alaska, and Anthem and Odyssey would be in Europe. So if that's the situation, then probably not. So I'm going to go with what you see is what you got. Sorry. Question, do you know the Broadway show right now on Liberty? Yeah, Saturday Night Fever. Staying alive. Actually, looks like I'm smoking a cigarette, but that's my bad singing. And bad singing and bad choreography. Next question. We got some super chats coming in. Alan, thank you, Alan Mayo, for the super chat. EMED was only allowed to add 3 test speakers for prescription. I have a 4th guest. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about that. They don't care. That's just let me put it this way, Alan. I got 4. I got me, my wife, and my 2 kids. Same problem. I bought it. I put me and my wife and 1 kid. It doesn't matter. It does not matter, Alan. It's just formality, paperwork. So no worries whatsoever. State Nate, great name. How strict is the reservation required for Windjammer? Not strict at all. It's completely meaningless. Don't worry about reservations. You don't need that. Sharon Stockman is here. Hello, Sharon. It is good to see you. Welcome. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Shorty says, do you think it'd be okay getting off the ship in Miami, going to the airport to rent a car, and make it to Port Canaveral to cruise again same day? Ooh, pretty lady. Probably, but I would be sweating bullets all up 95 the entire time. I mean, the answer is yes. If you get out the ship early in Miami, you're probably on the road, best case scenario, by 8:30, 9 o'clock, right? That means you'll make the trip in about 3.5 hours. So now we're at 12:30, 1 o'clock. You'll stop for lunch. Yeah. It would just boy, you cannot get stuck in traffic for more than a little bit. You know what I mean? You can't have a breakdown. You can't dilly daddle. You got to be off the ship. That's assuming you got off the ship quickly and did all those things, right? There were no delays or anything like that. It would give me, it is possible. But I just, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, it's been done before. So let's put it that way. Let's see. Oh, Kara, so you booked Air to Sea on the same day. Oh, you booked through. Well, you might be able to change it with Air to Sea. That's one of the advantages. I would call them up and say, hey, can I back up that flight one day? You might have that option. I would at least do that. With Air to Sea, which is Royal Caribbean's airfare booking program, they'll tell you, oh, Miss Kara, we guarantee you'll be able to get to the ship, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't care. if you can, if I were you, I'd call them up. I could say, hey, can I move that flight back one day? Um, I would, yeah, I would try to do that. And Pam, as a former customer service agent for 2 major airlines, do not fly the end day of your cruise. It happens all too often. It's a mistake waiting to happen. I'm not trying to scare you, Kara. I'm just trying to be real with you. And if I were you, I would call back and see if we can change those plans. Should we be? This is a good question. We talked a little bit about this, but should we be concerned about the new CDC guidance? Concerned is not the right word. I would say something to keep an eye on. Let's wait. Let's wait for these protocols to be internalized by Royal Caribbean. That's all. Let's see what happens. I think we're getting. I think too many people are getting a little too far ahead of the of the curve right now, and they're trying to, look 3 steps down the line. Again, I remember when these protocols, the original protocols, came out in 2020 or early 21. I forget exactly when they came out, and they were way worse than they ever actually were on the cruise ships. I'm not saying anything about what they are currently. I'm just saying these are not written in stone. The cruise industry has already lashed out at the CDC for this. There's so much happens behind the scenes between the cruise lines and the CDC that I just simply am not going to, it's not all public knowledge. So we get very low visibility. That's me making an iceberg, and I went for a different metaphor. We have very little visibility for what may or may not happen. So let's not get, just something to keep an eye on. I think that's fair. But I think so many people are getting a little too carried away with it for right now. Let's cross that bridge when we get there. Hope that makes sense. Anthony, do we need a passport vaccine? You need to be, as an adult, if you're above the age of 12, you must be fully vaccinated in order to go on a Royal Caribbean cruise. And you need to bring your CDC card to the cruise terminal on embarkation day. Let's see here. Ryan wants to know, does Royal Caribbean charge a Corkish fee when bringing wine on board? Technically, yes. In practice, they rarely charge it, but theoretically they do, Ryan. So be prepared for it, but probably you won't do that. Mr. Eric Floyd, thank you for the super chat. Sorry, missed a super chat for you. Anyway, to get to the, no worries. Anyway, to get one drink package for one person when the other doesn't drink. If you're talking about the unlimited alcohol package, the deluxe beverage package, you can call Royal Caribbean and say, hey, there's 2 people in our room. I drink, the other adult does not. They will allow you instead to allow that person to get the non-alcoholic drink package. But you must buy at least that. They won't let you go with just you alone. It's too many people, unfortunately, broke the rules beforehand, Eric, that it ruined it for the rest of us. But call Royal Caribbean and yeah. Taiwo Lee, thank you for the super chat. Woo! Thank you. I'll be on a cruise with Celebrity Apex next month. We'll be stopping at San Juan as one of the stops. What kind of attractions are there? San Juan is old San Juan. You're stopping in it's the old city. So sightseeing, historical stuff. They have beaches there as well. You can take a taxi to the beach if you'd like to do that. I personally think, Taiwo, you want to go explore San Juan. And the best thing about San Juan is you dock right in old San Juan. You don't need a bus. You don't need a shuttle. You don't need a taxi. You are right there. And you can just simply walk around old San Juan. There's a lot of history there. There's old Spanish forts. There's architecture. There's stores. There's museums. There's restaurants. It's a beautiful city to explore. It's a very hot city. You're going to be sweating a lot. But I would recommend exploring the city on your own, just walking around. Old San Juan is built on a hill, and your cruise ship docks at the bottom of the hill, and all the stuff is up. So what I would recommend you do is go to the top of the hill first and then work your way down. And if you're ever saying, I have no idea where I am, just start walking downhill. As soon as you walk downhill, you will literally run into the cruise ship again. So it's that easy. Let's see here. Next question. Riley says, going off your last cruise, how was the experience with all the COVID restrictions? My brother won't go because he feels like the experience won't be the same. It's different, but it's not bad, Riley. I'm going to tell you this. A lot of people, and your brother is not alone in this, that they see these COVID protocols and they think to themselves, oh, man, this looks awful. Like, how could this possibly be fun? Because it's not as bad as you think. Number one, the strict mask protocols are actually going to be rolled back beginning February 15th. So this coming week. They're going to go back to the pre-Omicron protocols. They're still mask wearing. But under those, Riley, in practice, you'd only wear your mask about 20% of the time as a fully vaccinated person on board the ship. So you just don't wear it nearly as much as you think. And it's really not as bad as you or your brother thinks. So I would tell your brother, It's real, and there's a lot of people who I'm sure in the chat will tell you the same thing. No matter what you read, no matter what you see in terms of like, here's the rules, it's really not as restrictive or prohibitive as you think. And the bottom line is, it's still a lot of fun being on a cruise. And yes, it's how does a cash account work for a sea pass? Basically, you charge things like everything else. Basically, at the end of the cruise, you got to settle up. They're not going to let you off the ship. Ania, I think I said your name wrong. You have to settle up at the end of the cruise. Either you get, here's, I owe $300. All right, here's 100, 200, 300. There you go, done. Or you give them a credit card or something like that. But you need to settle your debts before you get off the ship. That's all. As opposed to someone with a credit card on their account, then it automatically gets charged the credit card, and they're good to go. I think I see a super chat coming in from Tim Patrick. Thank you, Tim, for the super chat. Have you had any experience with Royal Caribbean transfers from the port back to the airport on disembarkation day? I've never actually taken Royal Caribbean's transfers. Whenever I've flown to my cruise, Tim, I just take a taxi because I like moving up my schedule. But I know a lot of people have taken it, and they have no qualms about it. No problem at all. So, Eddie says, my COVID card is damaged beyond recognition. Will they accept my state's vaccination record? Does it be the card? I generally believe it. I believe it has to be the card. I'm not 100% sure on the answer to this. And there are ways to get a replacement card, by the way. Depending on, I would check with your county whatever local health board administration. There are ways to get a replacement one, but I don't know specifically the answer to your question, so I can't answer it. I don't want to mislead you in any way. Dylan, no, it needs to be an authentic, not a photocopy, not a facsimile. It's got to be the real deal, the real McCoy, and that's why I keep mine in a plastic protective holster for it. Mike, any recommendations for an early July cruise? I mean, for like which ship to sail on? A 7-night cruise, my friend. Pick a 7-night cruise. You can't go wrong with those. I think you'll like that. So. Edwin wants to know, does the ship time change local time when the time zone changes? It depends, actually, on the captain. Yeah, it's actually the captain's call. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Depends on the captain. So they'll let you know once you're on board the ship. Anna wants to know a recommendation for cash. Recommendation. Oh, my goodness, I can't read. Recommend amount of cash to bring for a family of 4, not looking to break the bank. It depends on how much you prepay, number one. Number two, what you're doing in port, like how many ports you're going to. On the ship, the only reason you're going to need cash, you're going to need a few dollars for tipping the porters on the first day and the last day of the cruise. So, I mean, $10 or $20 at the most. You would need cash in the casino if you're going to gamble. Let's assume you're not gambling for a second. So that's out. Everything else on board the ship is not it's cashless. So you don't need cash there. You're really going to need cash otherwise for shore excursions, right? If you are doing things on your own or tipping or buying souvenirs or whatnot. There's the old rule of thumb used to be, I don't know where I read this, if this is true or not, was like $100 per day would be a pretty good going rate. But basically, Anna, it really depends on your plans and how much you prepay, right? If you book your shore excursions in advance and pay them off in advance, you may not need all that much money, if at all. I always it's always smart to travel with a little bit of cash, but you don't necessarily need to spend a lot. It just depends on how much you spend either on board the ship or prepay. But a lot of the cash spending tends to be discretionary, souvenirs and things of that nature. So, I answered Timothy's super chat. Thank you again, Timothy, for the super chat. I appreciate it. And Mike answered the question for Tim right here about the transfers. The transfers to the port are great. Never had any issues. Fantastic. SS Vicious, has Royal Caribbean ever encountered any outbreaks of COVID on board while sailing? Yeah, but outbreak is the wrong word. Have there been cases on board? Yes, but they've been very limited. The worst they ever had, and this was during Omicron, probably like the first or second week of January. The worst was when 2% of everybody, crew and passengers, tested positive for COVID. So 98% of the people did not have it. And but they handle it really well because the protocols are very effective and they limit it. And right now that Omicron is on the downswing, they've reported already having very, very few cases on board the ship. Does it happen? Sure, just like on land, right? I mean, there's COVID cases on land. The difference is there are so few cases on board a ship right now because of the stringent protocols, because the cruise industry has the best protocols and policies of any leisure travel out there, that the case counts are just in, they're minuscule. They're measured in 0 point something percent. And when they are on board, they're almost always asymptomatic, and very minor, very mild. So it's a credit to the cruise lines for being responsible, doing the right thing, and being an industry leader with their protocols that are out there. You can look at so many other forms of leisure travel, so many other forms of entertainment that have little to no protocols at all. And who knows how many cases they have, because they don't report it. They don't bother testing with it. They just say, too bad. And they don't have a policy on that. Whereas the cruise lines are above board with what they're doing. They're going to actually exceeding what they have to do in terms of protocols from the government. And it's astounding. So the good news is, it's honestly, in my opinion, not that I'm a public health expert or anything like that, but I feel the safest when I'm on board a cruise ship compared to anywhere else on land. Anywhere, restaurant, supermarket, post office, Walmart. I there are many times I walk out of those places telling my wife, if I come down with COVID in 2 days, it was from this place. Yeah, not on a cruise ship. I feel the most confident, the most secure, the safest on a cruise ship because of the protocols that the cruise lines have. It is absolutely proven to be the most effective thing that's out there, and the proof is in the pudding. Look at the numbers. Let me compare those numbers to Disney World or Las Vegas or the Super Bowl yesterday. Oh yeah, we can't, because those places don't have any protocols, and they have very few protocols, to be fair. They have absolutely no testing, and anybody that does test positive, they don't report it to the CDC. So yeah, it must be nice to be able to kind of just operate in your own little world and not have to have any responsibility to your customer base, whereas the cruise lines go above and beyond that. So yep, that was me on my soapbox there for a minute. Let's see here. Aaron, selling on Anthem this Sunday. I have a dolphin encounter booked at Blue Lagoon, I think. Recently received an email saying it'll be between 1 and 6. Ship leaves at 5. I don't want to be a pure runner. Thoughts? I would just touch base with the shore excursion staff when you get on board the ship, Aaron. That'd be your best course of action. Get on board the ship, go to the shore excursion desk, ask them this exact question, and I'm sure they can give you an answer for that. So, yep. Gene, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message here, Gene, but I will look to see if there is a message later on. But thank you for your generosity. It's very, very kind of you. Appreciate it. Rich wants to know, is family dining still a thing? No, unfortunately not. I know what you're talking about, in the main dining room where you would eat dinner with your kids, and then like after an hour, adventurers would pick them up. They stopped because of COVID. I hope it comes back at some point. But for especially restaurants, kids are allowed in most venues. If they're vaccinated, they can go to any venue for dinner. If they're unvaccinated, there's only a few exceptions they're not allowed into. And for those places, where was I going with this? There, for those vaccinated places, they can go there. The places they can go in, there is a special charge, cover charge just for kids to pay, and it's less than the adult price. Let's see here. Maria wants to know, what is something that's typically popular that you would avoid? Love your videos. Thank you, Maria. Maria, awkward. The key. I think too many people buy the key because they think it sounds really good. And I've done videos about this in the past, but I think it's not. Yeah, no. No. Art auctions. I don't know how popular they are, but that's a big one that I would definitely avoid. And trying to think of something that's more popular, like, that really, like, a lot of people do it, and I'm just like, no. I think now I'd be venturing into like personal. I mean, that's all personal preference, but like really, like Matt likes it, but you know what I mean. It's more of a Matt thing. But the key is a big one. Definitely the key. I would just skip. It's not worth it. I know that's gonna get people angry. So, let's see here. Hey, Josh Burton, looking forward to meeting you on the Wonder as well, my friend. Orlando New Home Construction Experts, thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! I don't see a message here, but I will keep my eye out to see if there is one. I don't think I saw anything from Gene as well, But I appreciate your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, here's the message from Orlando New Home. New here, you rock. Thank you and welcome. My Independence of the Seas is sold out for March 11th. I called and they were up at 50% capacity. Just let you know. Yeah, that's not unusual, Orlando New Home. So basically, they cap the capacity so they can't make any more bookings. That doesn't mean you're at 100% capacity. It just means they won't take any new reservations. So enjoy your cruise. You're gonna have an awesome, awesome time. Wemmy wants to know, are we being tested when we get on board, even after testing before? No, the only people that get tested, you do the test before the cruise, you know that. The only people that get tested the day of the cruise, you board, would be unvaccinated people, like kids, basically. Danette wants to know, I know that roller allows 12-pack soda. Is that per person or per stateroom? That is per stateroom. Per stateroom. Tony Diaz, an American flag unfurling behind me. Love it. Mindy's mom is a new subscriber. Welcome, Mindy's mom. Could you please tell me which level, which balcony room, front or back, would be the best for someone like me who has horrible seasickness? Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. Welcome. I would say, I don't know what ship you want to be on, a low deck, midship. You want to be as dead center as you can be and midship. So right by the middle elevator bank, which is usually called the aft elevator bank, but it's the middle. That's where you want to be. So depending on the ship you're on, I can't tell you, but somewhere between deck 2 and 6, midship. You'll have the least sensation of movement over there. And I would definitely say a balcony room, so that way you have some fresh air. You can see the horizon. That is important as well. But also make sure you, just in case, buy some over-the-counter medication. I freely admit this, guys. On my last cruise, yesterday, I got seasick. I woke up in the morning. My stomach was, I knew it immediately. And I tried to fight. I was like, no. Not today, Satan. I'm gonna fight. I'm not gonna get seasick. And I went upstairs and I stared at the horizon for like 5 minutes. And I had something to eat and some water. And I was like, this ain't happening. So you know what I did? I just took, a friend of mine had Dramamine, non-drowsy Dramamine. Popped 2 of those babies. An hour later, hey, Matt's back. So, yep. Fantastic. Like Mariah Carey. Okay, there you go. Well, I apologize for calling you Maria, but Mariah, pleasure to have you here. And we're gonna have to wrap things up here. This is also true, Jay. I would also avoid scuba diving and birds. Accurate. All right, guys. On that note, we're gonna head on out of here. I apologize we can't get to every single question. If you have more questions, check out our message boards at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com or post your questions on our next video next Monday. I'm going to say some thank yous to our super chatters today. Thank you, Orlando Newhome. Gene, thank you. Timothy, thank you. Taiwu, thank you. Eric, thank you. Alan, thank you. Devin, thank you. Ariel, thank you. Juan, thank you. John Grunchowski, thank you. Courtney, thank you. Andrea, thank you. Marv, thank you. Chris C, thank you. The Teresa McShane, thank you. Jason Achilles, thank you. Steve Cohen, thank you. Danny DiMatteo, thank you. Danny. Jude, thank you. 304 Garage, thank you. Cruise Addicts, thank you. Richard, thank you. Dave and Sherry, thank you. Rebecca, thank you. Brandon, thank you. Scotty, thank you. Cruising with Cliff, thank you. Betty, thank you. Chris C, thank you again. Josh Carruthers, thank you. Kim Oakland, thank you. Matt Manuvich, thank you. And Mike Wolf, thank you for your generosity. Thank you all so much for joining us here. We're live every Monday right here on YouTube. Come join us. I'll be back again next week. Yes, after I got off a cruise ship again, talking more Royal Caribbean with all of you guys. And Mr. Tony Diaz sneaking in with another super chat right at the end. Thank you, my friend. I'm getting choked up, Tony. Or I had a little too much to eat for dinner tonight. Either way, thank you, Tony, for your generosity. Very, very kind. Thank you all. Thumbs up indeed. Didn't mean to click on that, but thank you. Check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. We have new blog posts up there today. There's like 3 new blog posts up at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Go check those out. Until then, our next live broadcast on Monday. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. That's important as well. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Good night, everybody.